Okay, now I've just sanded down, cleaned out all the particle board out of there. Now all I gotta do is cut a new board, slide it inside there, and then wash this whole area, remove all the dirt and grit and everything else that I just made. You can see I already took the glue off of most of the area where the where the footstep was, the rubber foot pad there. And then I'll be ready to mix and put the resin on there along with the fiberglass. So I'm going to be doing just a little bit about here, down across all the way up to here, all the way over. That there should make it more secure. Now this here is poking up a little bit. What I intend to do is, after I put the board in, I'm going to put a screw in right here to bring it down a little bit and fill the gap with resin and make sure that screw is below the resin. This way I'll be able to sand it down and it'll become nice and uniform. Okay, so I got the board cut and installed, but it looks like I may need to put probably 1, 2, maybe three screws at most to bring it down to where it should be, and then this won't stick up as much, and I can blend it to make it look like there was no repair at all. So next step, I'm going to be putting in screws. You can see it's nice and clean now. There's still a little dust. I actually ended up sanding it. I wasn't happy with how that edge looked. You can see it's nice and white now. You can see the plastic itself and everything else. I do have to do a little bit more sanding here to make sure everything bonds perfectly. That's the whole thing, is that making sure your surface is really nice and clean for the resin to bond to it. So here we go. I'm going to install a couple screws, and then I should be ready for the fiberglass cloth, or mixing the resin and doing the fiberglass cloth. Okay, I got the screws in, but what I noticed is here is way too flimsy. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to position a screw here and make sure it's pointed downward, and fill it with bondo glass to give it just a little bit more added support for when you step up here to get into the passenger door. Over here, it doesn't seem too bad. Here might be a problem. I've lost a lot of the underpiece, which I'm hoping to form once I do that later. Once I put over the sheet, I can actually backfill from underneath the truck and hopefully support it. So what I'm going to do over here is I'll also fill this with some bondo glass, and hopefully that'll help strengthen it just a little bit, just enough to where it'll be a usable step and it won't crack, break, and everything else, and end up right where I'm back to square one, taking it all apart again, probably even taking off the whole running board and doing it all over. Okay, as you can see, first layer is done. I've basically almost completely covered that. There's just a little tiny notch I gotta cover up. That's going to be done with fiberglass resin. This section I have not yet done. You can see I've sanded down a little bit of it, but I haven't done very much with it yet. This big huge one, as you can tell, I just have the fiberglass resin left to do. That whole hole is completely gone. It's completely negated. I've completely covered it up and everything else, and I've blended most of the fiberglass body filler is filled in, and I just have to square it off with the sander, and like I said, one layer of poly resin should do it, and then the whole thing is done.